All right, I've been waiting for a day just like this to get this job done. So here is the start of this little trench that I dug. I was just out here messing around with the mini excavator when I first got it, just trying to get used to the controls. And I just dug this real thin little trench here. And it's actually been working pretty good. A lot of it caved in on the sides and stuff, which is fine. I dug it way deeper than it needed to be. This ditch comes down and dumps into the county drain. That's this low spot here that also needs to be cleaned out at some point, but we'll do that another time. Right now, I need to connect this trench up to all the water that's in our pastures. Usually this whole area of this pasture floods, and as you can see, it's dry as a bone just because of this little trench here. So everything had a place to go and either drain and seep into the ground through the sand, it's real sandy soil here, or run down to that county drain. So I'm not worried about it being perfect. I'm just gonna dig it super deep, and I'll probably dig it a little wider than this. We'll clean this up, and then we need to continue it on into the pasture. Just looking back at where that trench is, a lot of people said, why are you digging into your hayfield? Well, I don't own that bit of property, so the hayfield was actually kind of extended into the neighbor's lot. I'm gonna come right through here underneath the fence somewhere in this area, and I need to find somewhere to bring it through here. I'm gonna try to trace the low areas where the water is right now. I may kind of come up here and just find a good spot like where there's not as many trees, so maybe cut through here. You can see this is kind of a low area where all this water is, so maybe I can cut in through here and just start catching all this water. So if I can even just trench right through the edge of this wet spot and then maybe over into that spot, seems like that might follow the contour, and I can trench right through here and connect it into this. Now this right in here this is a super deep hole that someone had dug a long time ago for this to kind of drain into. Well, you can see it all drains into this from the house, and all that runoff drains in here, and then it fills up and overflows, and then it just starts filling this whole pasture up, and then eventually in the springtime this whole pasture is filled with water. So I'm waiting for a day just like this because it's been just dipping into the 20s at night, and so the first inch or two of the ground is frozen. So that means I'm not going to tear this place up quite as much. It won't be a muddy mess. It's a little bit stiffer, and it's a lot better to run the equipment when it's a little bit stiffer, but it's not frozen down too far where I can't dig. And so if I come out here in January, February, if I wait too much longer, the ground's going to freeze down a foot and or more even, and then it's going to be really hard to dig. The other thing I want to address is I know I don't have the right bucket for this. I have I think it's a 12 or 18 inch trenching bucket. It's not really made for this. It'd be nice to have a 24 or 36 inch bucket for this, obviously digging trenches, ditches like this, but right now I just need to get this to work. I need to get this water drained out of here, and I know it's gonna not be the best, but we're gonna get it done, get this water out of here, hopefully, so we have a drier spring out here. And then if I can get that other bucket, if I can get a bigger bucket for it, I can come back and clean it all up later on in the summertime when things are dry. For those of you who follow along, all this water comes from that drainage ditch that I dug about a month ago, and this was all dug by hand with a shovel, and it comes right through Virginia's little pasture. So the water comes through here, and then there's that little wet spot over there. That's that little pond that I built for the horses, so the horses can come down and drink out of that. Nice fresh water. It never freezes because it keeps running. And then I need to trench it through here a little bit better also, and then get this to connect all up and go all the way through and all the way out. That's the drainage. The county drain is way at the other end of the property over there. So the plan is to have a little pond area in every paddock or pasture so that the animals always have fresh, clean water to drink for almost 9 months out of the year. This only dries up for about 3 or 4 months out of the year. Right now we've got Maple and 2 of the goats out here. We're gonna have more animals coming hopefully in the early winter. And so we want them to be able to have fresh water out here, so I don't have to worry about, you know, hauling water or de-thawing water, all that kind of stuff. And you can see, I mean, it was like 18 degrees last night, and this stuff just doesn't freeze. So they always have a place to to drink if I can dig a nice little pond in for them. Lots of water to drain.
Well, we made it to the fence here, but this is tricky because this is all sand, so it just keeps caving in and caving in and caving in, which is fine. I'm just digging it deep and letting it kind of widen out on its own as it caves in. I may have to try to dig it out a different way. It's real hard to dig that trench, 3 feet deep, and then drive around it with the tracks because it just caves in and falls into the trench. So a little learning curve for me with the excavator, but we'll figure out how to do this. And it's time to get some fuel, and we'll keep digging here. So we'll get in the pasture now, and we'll start digging over to the water. This thing really doesn't use much gas. Since I've had it, I've probably put 15 gallons in it, and I've dug quite a bit of trench, probably 300 feet plus this. So it doesn't cost much to run. And no, this is not kerosene, this is diesel fuel. Well, the sand is quite hard to dig an actual ditch in, but as this fills up with water, it'll find a level and hopefully start running towards that drain, and it'll kind of erode itself into some type of a creek. We'll see what happens. Dirt out, so I don't have to come back and deal with it later. The animals will trample it down and flatten it out. So once we hit this water, we're going to find out whether this thing's going to work or not. The water should start to fill the trench, and we'll see if we're level or not level or what. It's a little stickier here. Alright, we got water running now. All right, well that's a good sign. At least something's draining somewhere. I can already see this has dropped about a foot. And so hopefully all this water will drain down into here. This is about 10 or 12 feet deep, this little hole here that they dug. I might need to break through over here and make sure how this all drains into here, but well, the water's definitely moving, so let's see if it makes it all the way out to the county drain. See if our levels are right. Of course, if I had a laser level or something, I could actually check the depth along here and make sure that it's sloped right and everything, but we'll just let it erode itself and it'll find its own level. So hopefully I dug it deep enough where it'll make it. Eventually I'm gonna have to put a little culvert in here, some type of, I can throw a couple pieces of drain pipe or something underneath this fence and bury this area. A lot of cave-ins from the sides, but hopefully that'll wash away. This is gonna erode quite a bit still. It looks like it's breaking through. There's a lot of water in there in that field. It looks like it's going to make it. This is the county drain that there used to be a tile underneath it, a pipe underneath it that ran all the way back to the swamp in the back corner of our property, but now it's buried and broken. This is just a ditch that leads back to the maple forest. And then up through here, it leads up to the road into a ditch that leads to the river eventually. This will be the first time since we have moved into this house that pasture will actually be drained. And there it goes. Well, it's been just about the better part of the entire day here running the excavator, and it's just what a great piece of machinery. It just powers through roots, and I couldn't have done this without this thing. Backhoe's nice too, but backhoes are so long with the loader and everything like that. This thing's nice because I can get right through the trees and really dig this stuff out. So we'll see how long this drainage ditch lasts. You know, it could. A lot of it's going to cave in. I mean, it's just pure sand, so there's not a lot I can do about that besides bury drain tiles, and I don't really like doing that either. I'd much rather just have an open ditch like this with a little ponds and things like that throughout all the pastures where everything, all the animals always have something to drink. So hopefully you guys enjoyed a little digging today. I know the video is not great. It's hard to get good video. I need some better cameras to clip around this thing to get some cool footage. So hopefully we'll look into that maybe next year. But hopefully you guys enjoyed some digging today and following along with the trenching. Lots more trenching to come. I have so many trenching projects to do around here and drainage things to deal with. So there'll probably be more, you'll probably be seeing more of this. So don't forget to hit thumbs up on today's video. And of course, if this is your first time here, we'd love to have you subscribe and follow along. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.